On episode 244 of He Said, She Said Movie Reviews, we take a look at the movie Devotion. Welcome to He Said, She Said Movie Reviews. This is the podcast where a happily married couple with similar but different movie tastes take a quick, spoiler-free look at the movies, helping you make the right decision before your next movie. I'm your host, Tim.
And I'm April.
So we just got back from seeing the movie Devotion. What do you give this one, April?
You know, this movie was well made. There were some highlights in it that were good, but it was overall it was a sad movie. I just
how many stars? We'll get into the.
I'm going to give it, I guess, a 4 out of 5 because it was so well made. It was done really well. It just.
All right, we'll get into that. Okay. And for me, it was a 3. I wanted to give it more. I was really looking forward to this movie, but it's a 3. We'll tell you all about it right after these 2 trailers.
All right. The first one is called A Man Called Otto. Tim and I first saw, this is a remake of the movie. It's an older movie.
Yeah, it's a Scandinavian movie.
Right.
I think it was A Man Called Ovid.
Yeah, and it was really good. This is about Otto. He's a grump. He's given up on his life following the loss of his wife and wants to end it all. When a young family moves in nearby, he meets his match and a quick-witted Marisol, leading to a friendship that will turn his world around. The release date is Christmas 2022, starring Tom Hanks, Rachel Keller, and Manuel Garcia-Rulfo.
I can't wait to see this movie because we thoroughly enjoyed the original, the Scandinavian film.
And let me tell you how we found it. We had a fan reach out to us and tell us that he sees it every year at the holidays.
I completely forgot about
and
that.
And he wanted to know our thoughts. So Tim and I, of course, immediately, it was the holiday season, got a hold of the movie, and we loved it. So to our dear fan that turned us on to the original, who we're going to talk with him again right after the re-release of this new one. Thank you.
All right, the second trailer is for Magic Mike's Last Dance. Yes, Channing Tatum. I always mix his name up there. Channing Tatum is back for one more Magic Mike movie. And this is Magic Mike Makes a Comeback. And this has a release date of February 10th. And it's starring Channing Tatum and one of my all-time favorites, Salma Hayek.
Oh, yes. That's going to be interesting. All right. Storyline, Tim.
This is about a pair of U.S. Navy fighter pilots who risk their lives during the Korean War and become some of the Navy's most celebrated wingmen.
All right. The director was J.D. Dillard. He's known for Slight and Sweetheart. And the writers, this is interesting, the first feature credit.
For both of them. Yeah.
You got writer Jake Crane. He's known for... This is it. And Jonathan Stewart, same thing. It's based on a book by Adam Makos, but these 2 gentlemen, shout out here. Your first feature in writing, you did a great job.
I'm going to disagree with you on that, but we'll wait till that when we talk about the story arc. Yeah.
It seems
okay.
Interesting.
This has a cast of Jonathan Majors, Glen Powell, Christina Jackson,
Thomas Sadoski, Daren Kagasoff, Joe Jonas, Spencer Neville, Nick Hargrove, and Boone Platt.
Has a runtime of 139 minutes and is rated PG-13 for strong language, some war action, violence, and smoking. And that was part of my problem with this movie, some war action.
Okay. Theme and tone, first black aviator in the U.S. Navy, racism and tolerance.
All right, well, let's get into one of the reasons why I really wanted to like this movie. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is it's an aviation war movie, naval aviators following in the wake of Top Gun Maverick. if you're expecting, and this, the trailer led me to believe that this was a war movie and that it had great action scenes with dogfights and all this other stuff, you're not going to get this in this movie. That's not what this movie is about.
It's a story
this movie is the story about the first black aviator in the Navy and the racism that he dealt with.
And friendships along the way, the story with his wife and his child. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to this.
This is not an action movie.
No, you're right about that. It's also very often very hard to hear. It's hard to see. Anyone that knows me knows how much I believe in positive self-talk and positive motivation. He happens to motivate himself through negative memories, negative self-talk to tap into the anger to achieve what he did achieve. It's tough. There's so many pieces of this that are, I'm sure, right on target for every single thing that he went through, as well as many, many others. And I don't mind that.
I don't know if we said this is based off of a true story.
Right.
So.
No. And we need to see this. We need
Absolutely.
Every story. We need to embrace every truism that's a part of it. It just is hard. But you know what? Maybe that's why we need to keep seeing every one of these stories.
I agree totally with you. I thought the acting and the characters in this movie, I think the acting was good.
Okay, wait. I want to shout out Jonathan Majors, Glen Powell, amazing, and Christina Jackson, the wife of Daisy Brown.
Yeah,
amazing.
She did really good. The direction, also, I thought the direction was fine. I mean, nothing.
The score, not anything.
Yeah,
I wanted music. I needed music at times.
Cinematography. I thought this was a nice looking movie.
Yes.
I mean, especially the winter in Korea. I mean, the scenes. I really liked that.
Yeah.
And going into the production design, I thought it was very believable for the Korean War time period.
Exactly. I did too. I thought they did a great job on that. And the special effects, the air scenes were great, Tim, but I know you wanted a lot more.
Yeah, I'm a geek and I play World of Warplanes. That's my favorite video game. Right. And I like flying and I like battle scenes and I like dogfights. And like I said, the trailer led me to believe that there was going to be some awesome dogfights in this movie. And
the editing was normal. The pace. I know you talked about this. I'm going to let you. Well,
once again, I mean, this was not an action movie. This was a character study. It was about racism, and it was about the first black aviator in the Navy and what he had to go. So for a war movie, which this wasn't, for a war movie, it was slow. But for a character study, it was perfect, I guess.
Right. And I believe there was actually a lot to the dialogue. I know Tim and I disagree a little bit here, but if you really, I was very present in this movie because that's how it drew me in, which is a credit to, again, the writers. But the dialogue, although some of it very hard for me and anyone personally, very powerful. I mean, very, especially between him and his friend.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's can be life-changing. I think about someone not as educated as you and I are on everything from relationships to the world to aspects of racism. I mean, let me just be direct, okay? And I will tell you that people not in a position to have experienced many things are going to learn from the dialogue in this movie. And that makes me happy.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, I don't know what to, I don't have anything to add to that. I think you're right on with that. I think the dialogue, you're right. I mean, and it's very educational. The story arc, and although this is based up, and this is where I have some problems with the movie too, is with the story arc. This was more of a documentary than it was a movie. It didn't follow the hero's journey, which almost every movie follows.
Right.
It didn't follow that. There was no inciting incident. You know what would have made this movie better for me is if we would have been able to see what drove him, what incident made him want to be a naval aviator.
Right,
And
I hear you.
We came in halfway into his story. We didn't get the start of his story. And this was a story about the first black Navy aviator. I wanted to see if that was the story, I wanted that story.
But I understand that, but I think again this was a different way to do the movie.
And that's why it wasn't satisfying for me, because I don't know what motivated him to want to be a naval aviator.
I will say that I'm very proud of him, his story.
Oh,
I feel a lot more educated. I mean about that. I mean, just I don't often do this, but I mean, the movie was sad.
Yeah, I was going to say, without being a spoiler, this is a movie where you're going to tear up at the end.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, lots of great things throughout. I'm just saying, I was sad, and I was sad for days. So I'm just being direct.
Right.
I'm glad I saw it. I thought the acting was superb, especially between the three characters. What can I say? I think it was well done. I think it's worth seeing. As many people that could see it, it's going to be a good thing. It just, I don't know. I found myself thinking about it too for a long time. And that's a credit to the writers. It's a credit to everyone that made this movie.
Yeah, I agree with you. If a movie makes you think for days afterwards, I think the people who created the movie did the job correctly.
Yeah. And I think today, I guess I just, with this review and this movie, I just want to end with one thing. I talk about, and I have throughout my life and in our family and with my daughter in community and businesses, love the rainbow, live the rainbow. And that's as simple as it is. Love everybody, love yourself, love everyone else, accept yourself and accept everyone else. We would be heading to a far better world. A lot of work to do, folks. Clearly in our country. Let's get busier. Let's all do our part, okay?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Well said, April. So this was the movie Devotion. April gave it 4 stars. I gave it 3 stars. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to our podcast. We love you guys. Happy holidays. And
happy holidays to everybody. We thank y'all. We've heard from a lot of you lately. Thank you for everything you've done to spread the word about our podcast and encourage us to keep moving. And thanks to all the movie producers that get a hold of us and want us to do your screenings and get advice. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you at the movies.
We'll see you at the movies. Happy holidays.